here. Seattle added Jaden Schwartz as a pretty good forward. It also looked like they were going to steal Philip Grubauer from the Avs, which would be fantastic signing for them to start their franchise. I mean, dude's under 30 years old. He's got some of the best numbers of the goaltenders. And, yesterday it came out that the deal they agreed to didn't quite fit in with league regulations. So that's being voided. It remains to be seen if they'll be able to get something done with him going forward. Philip Deneau, who played fantastically for the Canadiens during the Stanley Cup playoffs, is signed with the LA Kings. Montreal has signed veteran Mike Hoffman, who's got some good clout behind him. Chicago also traded for Marc-Andre Fleury, which helps shore up that net for the Blackhawks going forward. Colorado gave Gabe Landeskog an 8-year contract extension, and Cale Makar another 6-year extension. And Coyotes traded their captain, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, as part of a package for the 9th overall pick from the Canucks. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Terry Francona has resigned as the Cleveland Indians manager, but don't panic, Indians fans. He's not leaving, at least that we know of. He's been dealing with some health issues this year. He had surgery and this is coming from an NBC Sports article that I read. He's been managing the season wearing a boot because of a staph infection that he had on his toe. The report said that that boot has caused some strain on a bad hip, which is going to cause some surgery. So better he take some time off and recover from that and come back next year. But everything sounds like he will be coming back next season. It's just that the Indians probably aren't making the playoffs anyway, let's be honest. So, might as well take the time off. Bench coach DeMarlo Hale will be the interim manager for the rest of the season. And, I mean, as much as Cleveland's one of my rival fan bases, Terry Francona's always been one of my favorite managers. So good luck to him in his recovery, and we'll hope to see him back on the field soon. In other MLB news, the Mets drafted Kumar Rocker, a pitcher out of Vanderbilt, with I want to say it was the 10th pick, but it could have been the 11th pick in this year's draft. If you follow college baseball, you know all about Kumar Rocker. He's been one of the best, if not the absolute best pitcher in college baseball. He's got a career 2.73 ERA. But also, if you follow college baseball, you notice his velocity was down a little bit this year. I haven't seen or heard anything about why that was. His agent, Scott Boras, says there seem to be no concerns. He's been marked healthy by everybody. But he had agreed to I believe it was a $6 million deal with the Mets. But the Mets backed out of it because they didn't like what they saw in the medicals after they took another look. So what happens now for Rocker? He apparently had the option to go back to Vanderbilt, which I'm not sure how accurate that is, but apparently he had another year of eligibility left. But he's reportedly turned that down, and the next steps would be to either play in an international league or to play an independent league here in the States, or just not play at all. And from what I read on Twitter before recording the show, he has apparently decided that he's just going to train for a year, and he's eligible to be selected again next year in the 2022 draft. And he's one of my favorite players to watch. I hope somebody takes him. I hope everything's cool, because he's a great player to watch when he's on, and I really want to see him work out in the majors. This next story will kind of relate to the MLB. As you know, years ago, Pete Rose was banned for life from baseball for betting on Cincinnati Reds games, which was a big problem, not only because he was a baseball player betting on MLB games, but he played for the Reds, if you didn't know that. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows that. But in case you didn't, yes, he played for the Reds, and he bet on his own games. May have thrown some games. I don't remember the exact details. Well before I was born, and he's banned for life from baseball. Well, the San Jose Sharks in the NHL have a very well-known forward by the name of Evander Kane. His wife the estranged wife, who's apparently about to be the ex-wife, claims that he bet on his own games and threw some games to be able to pay off some of his old debts. Now, Kane denies it, and I'm not going to speculate whether he did it or not. It's up to the NHL investigation, and whatever they find and whatever happens. But you got to think he's going to get a similar penalty to what Rose got if he's found guilty. It's probably not going to, we'll just call spade a spade here. The NHL doesn't have as high a profile in the U.S. as it used to and as it could, and this story is probably not going to receive the same media attention as it should. But, it's a big deal, and for his sake, I hope he's not doing it. But because he's a gifted player and he's done a lot for the league, and it would be tough to see him get that kind of punishment. And lastly, if the name Quinn Ewers rings a bell, he is the number one prospect in the 2022 high school football recruiting class, or was. Now, Quinn will be reclassifying and enrolling at Ohio State this season after deciding to skip his senior season of high school. Apparently, he only had one more class to take at the high school level to be eligible for college, and he can take that online. And what it really has to do with is this whole name, image, and likeness deal. Here in Texas, high school athletes can't profit off of that. Should be the same in most states. But apparently Quinn was getting some offers from local businesses to appear in their ads, and you can only do that at the college level. So it put the college level on his radar much earlier, and he's going to be in the quarterback competition for Ohio State. He's got some work to do because he missed spring football, and he's going to be behind on the offense. But he's a good player. Wish the best of luck to him. But the question has to be asked: what is this going to do for high schoolers going forward? Are they just going to be able to pull out of high school and decide to go straight to the NCAA? Which, if there is an NCAA going forward, we'll see what happens there. But there's got to be some kind of guidelines. Can you just, if you're being highly recruited, can you just drop out of high school and get a GED and then go to college? There's got to be some kind of qualification set up and some kind of threshold that you have to meet to be able to go to the next level. And you've seen people graduate from college early. You can go to the NFL. That works. You've seen, Christian Ponder graduated from high school and college early, and ended up being a top 10 pick. But you don't see it that often, and you got to think you're going to be seeing it a lot more often with these new rules and with Quinn Ewers making his decision. And like I said, good for him. Good luck to him. But there's got to be some kind of system in place to check that you meet a threshold and, figure out a certain standard, because you don't want just not necessarily random, but you don't want everybody starting to skip their senior year of high school. And not everybody's in the situation where they can do that, but it's just it makes you think about where the future's going for that kind of stuff. Okay, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Be sure to like and subscribe and be on the lookout for more content from the Travis on Sports podcast soon. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to try to get these out on a weekly basis, and try to get set up on all the social media channels. For now, you can find the show on Spreaker and on the Travis on Sports YouTube channel. And we hope to be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that stuff pretty soon. And thanks for listening. I'm looking forward to bringing you more episodes of the Travis on Sports podcast in the future.